So let's get into what the papers are reporting today and the issues that are coming up in this beautiful country of ours. Wherever you're watching, if you are in Liberia, good morning and thanks for joining us here in Ghana. If you are in Rwanda, thank you for tuning in to Joy News. Nana Yaw Sarpong is a member of the Movement for Change, and he has joined me in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Kojo.
As all is well.
Grace has found us.
Okay.
You look good.
Thank you. You too. I saw you fixing some breakfast for some people back there, which is good. So thank you. Well, but it's good that you are able to serve people. They say people who are servants. If you are not a servant, you cannot become a leader.
But of course, I mean,
so preparing breakfast for people is something I should commend.
We have a responsibility as a people. You understand? If as a management student, I have always said that if you would want to be a good manager and to be able to lead well, servanthood is most appropriate.
Exactly.
And it's the best field to learn. Jesus did it. He did it by washing the feet of his disciples. And so when your colleagues, when your peers and your junior colleagues are excited when they see you, when they are excited because they know you would add to the job and help them do the job properly in as much as you direct and guide them, I think it is a good thing.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, as we do every day, I'll give you a maximum of 2 minutes. Share with me what's on your mind, and then we'll delve into the matters arising.
What's on my mind are two. Number one, the negative use of our social media. I think that as a nation, we should have a national discourse on it. We have come to a time where our dispensation, where anybody who has access to cheap data, access to microphone and a camera, decides to say whatever he or she wants and go scot-free. All in the name of freedom of speech, and all in the name that the criminal libel law has been repealed. Now, these young, the danger of it is that these are very young people, and they seem to forget that the internet does not forget. It seems to forget that they would also have children that would grow up and would search for what daddy and mommy did when they were young. They seem to forget that the words that they spew out there affect thousands and thousands of people. And I gave an example yesterday when I was saying this, and I said, what triggered the genocide in Rwanda? It was just a one statement by an irresponsible broadcast person, somebody who had access to radio. And I gave an example. People might not be happy with it. We found a young man in this country who went out there to insult the Archbishop, an Archbishop of this country. This person has, this Archbishop has hundreds of branches across the country, thousands of members and affiliates. What do you think would have happened if the members of this church had risen up and said, no, we're going to deal with this young man? But yet, you would find people trying to defend this young man for this level of irresponsibility. And we applaud these people. We have individuals who go insult people just anyhow they want. We say nothing about it. Why? Because we might think that they are wearing political colors. But at the end of the day, would the political color solve the conflict that this level of insult, disrespect, and irresponsibility would generate?
Okay, all right, yeah.
I mean, we need to have a national discourse on it. Shame these people. Yes, I mean, for the past 5-10 years.
But someone would
for the
also
past
someone would
5-10
also say
years
that when people began and we didn't stop them.
That's what I'm talking about. For the past 5-10 years, all right, we have seen it go on. And these people have used that lane of insults and abuse and irresponsibility to rise into fame. And that is why I'm saying that there should be a national discourse. So that when such individuals are even given opportunities to serve in public offices, there should be a public uproar to push them off.
Well, the president says it's likely that there will be a legislation concerning to govern how social media is operated. So that some of these things can be checked.
We need to.
Okay.
We need to.
So that's Nanaya Sapon there. He is with the Movement for Change. Well, we've also been joined in the studio by a former member of parliament for Sekunde in the Western region, a former tourism minister, a former deputy energy minister, lawyer, Egyapa Mercer. Bobo.
Yeah. We're Western caucus.
Yeah, very much. Good morning to our cherished viewers. Those who are watching us on social
Great.
media.
Usually, good to have you. I think this is the first time we're meeting on.
Yeah, this is the first time that you hosted.
Yeah. Apart from what we did in Sky.
Of course.
Anyway, I mean, what we do here is that we do give 2 minutes to our guest to tell us anything they have on their mind before we delve into the real issues. If you don't, I'll move into the issues that I have.
Oh, do you have sufficient enough time to?
I'll give you just 2 minutes.
All issues.
I'll give you just 2 minutes. If you want to talk about something, then we delve into the issues we have.
I'm sure that the substantive matter that we'll be discussing would be yesterday's
encounter.
Media encounter between the president, Mr. John Mahama. Apart from the flowery speech, which was essentially a repetition of what his ministers had bombarded us with for the past couple of months. I think he did not deal with the issues when the questions actually started coming up.
Oh, really?
He demonstrated a clear betrayal of the trust of the people in his galamsey fight, where he tells us today, contrary to what he said in opposition, that state of emergency.
Okay. So I'll bring in Bobo shortly. I have the Daily Guide newspaper here. On the front page, it says, Baumia slums NDC over power abuse, 4 arrested with 315 parcels of Indian hemp. GTech shuts down 149 unaccredited distance learning centers. MP, regional minister clash over slum demolition. And okay, coincidentally, it comes with a photograph of the MP of Second Blaine Amiche Ama. So that's from the Daily Guide newspaper. The Daily Democrat, government demolishes illegal Trasacco wall. Islamic school children happy. Gold Board reports $6 billion small-scale exports. Stakeholders warn investors over Adamu's mine sale. PRC engages media on tariff review. Now, with the Ghanaian Times, biodiversity destruction, Ghana loses $520 million annually, according to the UNDP. Fire raises 8 houses, warehouse at Latabio Koshi, and struggling SOEs need government's attention, according to ICU. Economy expands 6.3% in Q2 of 2025. Well, because Lawyer Mercer started from there, I think it's better we start from the president's encounter with the media. On Galamsey, there were some questions posed to him, the president. Kojo Yankson, my colleague Kojo Yankson, who's a Super Morning Show host, asked him some questions about Galamsey, water turbidity, and how the fight against Galamsey doesn't seem to be moving anywhere. Let's listen to the president's responses to the Galamsey questions. When we come back, my guest will handle the issues.
I never deluded myself that the fight against illegal gold mining or Galamsey was going to be an event. I mean, definitely, there's no magic wand. The decay has eaten so much over the last 8 years that it's going to take a lot of work to be able to overcome it. And I didn't expect that in 18 months we'll declare victory in the fight. As the livelihoods of about 4 million Ghanaians is on small-scale mining. And so it's a process. It's not going to be an event. But we will not give up. We have a determination to get on top of it. The Gold Board was introduced as part of reforms. And if the Gold Board was not introduced, I mean, those who were taking the profits from the small-scale mining sector were the foreign traders who were taking that money away. In 6 months, we have exported over $6 billion. About $4 billion of that money was going to go into the private or foreign traders. And so the first thing is you shut the stable door so that the horse doesn't escape, which is what we've done. So if it's from illegal sources, it's from legal sources. At least it's our land that is being destroyed. So let us get the benefit of it instead of foreign traders. So that's the first thing. But if you go and read the Gold Board law, it has a requirement for tracking and tracing. And as I speak, the Gold Board is working with an organization to put on a track and trace system. And so they're going to see those who have legitimate license requirements so that they can assist them in responsible mining so that we can buy that gold off them. Once we do tracking and tracing, it's in our interest because then we can export under LBMA and we'll get more profit from exporting under LBMA. So the Gold Board is not just about buying gold, it's also about financing responsible small-scale mining. And mind you, small-scale mining is not illegal in this country. It's provided for in our laws. It's just that in many cases, we've not even trained the miners about what responsible mining is. You just see anybody who gets an excavator just goes anywhere and starts digging and washing. But small-scale mining takes place in Australia. It takes place in Canada. And so as I speak, we are organizing a trip for the Small Scale Miners Association to Australia. Australia has given us an invitation to bring them to come and see how small-scale mining is done without destroying the environment. And so that's something we're going to take an advantage of. And the Gold Board is leading, and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources are leading that charge. Only recently, our Minister for Lands and Natural Resources came back from Australia. And so we need to train these small-scale miners. The gold is a blessing that God gave us. It's a natural resource that God gave us to make life better for our people.
So that's one of the responses the president gave on galamsey. There are several others who will be bringing them to you in the course of this segment. Well, Mercer, so that's the president there on galamsey. You were making a point on your microphone.
Yeah, I was making a point that was very disappointing. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as many Ghanaians will recall, the galamsey conversation was very key in the run-up to the 2024 general election.
Yeah.
And in fact, we had Catholic Bishops' Conference, trade unions, rising up, civil society organizations, rising up that Akufo-Addo government had failed in his fight against galamsey and was making demands on government to act. Then candidate Mahama and his NDC jumped into the fray. Of course, because they knew that Ghanaians had forgotten that only as soon as 2012, 2016, Mr. Mahama was president and had woefully failed in this fight against illegal mining. I heard the phrase or the name Aisha Juan for the first time during Mr. Mahama's era. In fact, when President Akufo-Addo came into government, galamsey had peaked to the point where he had to set up the interministerial committee in his first year to try to deal with the menace of illegal mining. So it wasn't new.
Because it was topical during the 2016 election.
Absolutely, without a doubt. So I'm saying that Mr. Mahama knew the difficulty that he had encountered in his attempt to fight it when he was president during his first term. Yet, in President Akufo-Addo's era, he jumped on the fray, made all sorts of commitments, made all sorts of promises. They called on the president to declare a state of emergency. He vowed to revoke a license for LI 2462. What happened to it?
They're working on it now.
After how many months? After he had gone to vary it, and because of public outcry, he is now promising that they are working on it to revoke. How long does it take to revoke an LI? How long does it take? He's been in office for 9 months. Then he meets the press and looks in the eyes of the people of Ghana and tells us that state of emergency is not necessary. I was shocked. Completely scandalized that the president could look in the eyes of Ghanaians and tell us today, when only in October, November, he was saying that all it took was for the president to declare a state of emergency. He having been president before, at the time, he didn't know that galamsey straddled several districts and that essentially was impossible at the time to call on the president to declare a state of emergency. He didn't know.
But wasn't that your position when you were in government, when they were calling?
No, so I agree. That's why we lost. We saying that it was difficult to do that because of the nature of the... But he had been president before. If it was you or me who hadn't been president before, who was making those demands at the time, then I could grant him some benefit of the doubt. But this is a man who had been president before. He had been in the same position that President Akufo-Addo was in. He jumped on the bandwagon and made a demand on the president then to declare a state of emergency. So I would have thought that, consistent with his own belief that President Akufo-Addo should declare a state of emergency, they will help in resolving the galamsey menace. When he becomes president, like he promised, he was going to do it. Today, look, all the other things that he said, I mean, of course, his speech was flowery, like I said, but when it came to the substance, when the questions came, you could hear the clear inconsistencies and the contradictions. In one instance, he says that, well, I'm not going to go to the capital markets because we've lived 8 or 9 months without borrowing. That's not true.
We'll come there. We'll come to the capital market, but we just want to deal with the galamsey issue.
Yeah, so the president has failed. He's disappointed the greater majority of the people of Ghana who repose some amount of trust that he claiming that he's gone home for 8 years, he's reformed, he's lent, packaging, settings, as some Gen Zs will call it, to deceive the people of Ghana into voting for him again.
But won't you give him the benefit of the doubt now that when you were in government, you saw the realities?
Yes.
He probably didn't.
How?
He's coming to government and has seen it.
How? I cannot give Mr. Mahama, the president, any said benefit of the doubt. Like I said, he had won the cup of the presidency before.
Yes, but
if it was a new candidate, then I could grant him that benefit of the doubt. Maybe he didn't know. Mr. Mahama knew at the time that the commitments that he was making to the people of Ghana was, as we would say in our fanticasm, bentehu. He was only throwing dust in the eyes of the people.
No, but the way they...
Purely for political gain. That's it.
Because the dimension galamsey had taken...
And I tell you why, again. He legitimizes it.
How?
He says that we're earning so much money from galamsey.
He didn't say galamsey, he said small-scale mining.
But small-scale mining, yesterday I was on a show with Honorable Aka from Amenfi, former MP for Amenfi. He says galamsey and small-scale mining are the same.
No, it's not.
But how is it not?
It is not.
How is it not?
Because small-scale mining...
It's the small-scale miners who have been given licenses.
Yes.
Who are using their licenses, importing excavators, buying excavators, leasing excavators to destroy our water bodies.
No, but that's what
don't sit here and try to rationalize or distinguish.
No, I'm not rationalizing.
Because it's a very thin line.
But lawyer, it's a
very thin line between small-scale mining and illegal mining.
Yes, but
in fact,
you can't box all of them together.
But they've become one.
No.
All intents and purposes.
No.
Go to the ground. Ask your media colleagues, Erastus, who has been very active in that space. They are one and the same, or they become one and the same. He says it's better that government earns revenue, whether the gold is from legitimate mining sources or illegitimate mining sources, than for foreigners. Why? The foreigners, were they not supposed to be regulated? Were they not? And he's telling you, and look, he said this when the Catholic bishops met him immediately after the election, right at the very beginning. It is something that they have set out to do, that look, this is something that we can generate money from. So come, beef up PMMC into creating a gold board and aggregate all the gold from whatever source. so that they can shore up the currency and all that.
But I'll disagree with you for trying to say that small-scale mining is same as illegal mining. It is not.
Of course, the
Because
definitions are different.
We have,
Even
in practice.
We may kid ourselves.
Because we know people who have legitimate licenses to operate small-scale mining companies.
I agree.
And they are doing excellently well.
I agree.
So you cannot compare them to illegal
No, I
miners.
agree. But I'm saying...
And those who import excavators, they are not... It's not only the illegal small-scale miners. There are people who import excavators who are not...
But that's why I brought in to say some are leasing. That's why I brought in.
No, but
people are importing. People have the wherewithal to import.
Importing who are not small-scale miners.
But they lease it to miners.
Illegal miners.
Do they inspect their licenses before they lease their equipment?
I cannot tell.
Yeah. So I'm speaking from people who have said from their own practical experience. Thankfully, galamsey or mining does not take place in my constituency where I come from. But I was on the show, Belgium, yesterday with Honorable Aka. He said, there was a newspaper front page, I think it was graphic. He said that the definition really is immaterial because practically on the ground.
Really?
But I get it. That we have mining companies not in the nature and size of the Newmonts or the Anglo-Goats of this world, who are categorized as small scale, who are running legitimate businesses. But I'm talking the people who are sitting in our rivers.
Oh, yes. As for that, nobody gives licenses for someone to
Of course, nobody gives licenses, but they have licenses that abut rivers that then extend into these things. You never know. Okay, we need to interrogate it to see whether indeed and in fact, none of the people who are operating in these river bodies have no licenses to mine. And they are relying on those licenses because obviously these river guards that they train, okay, when they go, do they even have the competency to even determine which license is legitimate, the contours of the boundaries of the licenses? And
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm saying that the president himself inadvertently admitted that his government was supporting these activities from taking place.
Okay. All right then. I'll bring in Nana, but because you're a lawyer, let me just clear this with you. Now, when someone is given a license to say you cannot mine 200 or 100 meters to a river body, and the person does so, hasn't the person crossed the legal limit?
Certainly he has.
Yes. So it means that we cannot even assume that.
No, but of course, nobody gives license. But you make it look as if the mining takes place only in river bodies.
No.
But illegal mining takes place. People mine without licenses.
Yes.
So
that's true.
That's the point. Yes.
I just want us to clear that nobody, those in the river bodies, none of them.
Yeah, nobody gives licenses for mining in rivers.
Yes.
But people are actually mining in the rivers. And the gold that they are mining from these rivers are being sold to the gold board. Okay. And the president says it's okay for gold board to purchase this gold, regardless of where it's coming from.
But he put it in context, though.
What was the context that he put it in? That as opposed to finding its way through the foreigners. So we won't regulate them. We'll allow them to mine so that we buy it to show up our reserves, correct?
Anyway, let me bring in Anna. Anna, what's your take on the response the president gave there?
Thank you. I got a bit excited when the former MP was making some of the points he's making, but we call a spade and say it as it is. There is a clear definition and a distinction between what an illegal mining, galamsey, is from what a small-scale mining is. I would agree with him if he says that most of these small-scale miners abuse the opportunity they are given and the certificates and licenses they are given. And so at a point, you would want to term them as illegal miners. It is just like a driver who is driving with a driver's license and tomorrow the license is expired and forgets to renew and is on the road. You are driving without license. So if they are arresting people, you would be arrested. When you are given a license to operate as a small-scale miner, it is given for a period. You are given what to do and what not to do. The size of the concession which you are given is also taken into consideration. And so if the concession is, say, concession A, and it is divided into two, I, or 3. And that license is given to you to operate in I, okay? When you extend it to II, it makes the operations on the II illegal, you understand? And that makes it galamsey. And so you would notice that sometimes most people and most of these small-scale miners go into some of these areas. Joe, when you talk about these, what's the name, river guards who have been sanctioned to go and fix or serve as, what is the name, watchdogs. That is how I put them, because if you look at their activities and their rules of engagement, you will notice that they are seen or they act more as community guards who are supposed to transfer or inform the authorities when they see illegal miners around or people trying to encroach in places where they are not supposed to. And so that is the main work of these river guards. But could you just a quick one? When you have bought a land by the roadside, I believe that the Highways Authority have a distance where you cannot use. They have a certain measurement. I have forgotten the measurement. The engineers will know. The land is yours, yes, but you should know that you are not the only user of the land. And so if you build without considering that distance from the road to your property, and there is a need for a demolition, it would affect you in as much as the land is yours. You get it? And it happens everywhere when you have bought lands for whether projects or mining whatsoever. So let us be considerate and let us know that what is illegal, whether it is yours or it is not yours. Once it is illegal, once it affects other lives, it is not yours. And so we just leave it as such. Now, when it comes to galamsey, we are looking at the political will of a particular administration putting in to fight or not to fight the menace. Now, are we able to say that indeed the John Dramani Mahama administration, which lands natural resources being led by Akufo-Addo, has demonstrated a political will in the fight of galamsey? Personally, I would say yes. Why? And I'll give you reasons. Number one, we seated around this table would agree that some time back we had suggested that there were too many task forces across. I mean, from 2016 down, you can count a number of task forces that were launched, some by the police, some by the Minerals Commission, some by the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry itself, some by Ministry of Environment, and we even had a secretariat at a point at the office of the president that was dealing with the issues of galamsey. Akufo-Addo came and we argued with him and said, listen, consolidate all of these task forces and give them a terms of reference. Why? Because some of these persons even go onto the field, and they cannot identify the documents, the difference between which one is Lands Commission, which one is Minerals Commission. I sat where Honorable is seated today, and I made that statement. If you recall, you were seated where I am seated now, and I told that some of these people, they know nothing about these documentations. And so we applauded the Honorable Minister when he formed the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, consolidating all of these forces in the fight of galamsey. We had 288 forest reserves, out of which 44 of these reserves had been taken over by galamseyers. When Akufo-Addo took office, he came and said they had reclaimed all these forest reserves for the exception of 9.
And then our reporter Erastus challenged that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we made a statement and we said, listen, you cannot come and tell Ghanaians that you have taken back all of these reserves and that there are some that are no-go areas. Then what is the military and the other things we have given you the use for it? Weeks after, he came back and they agreed and they all testified that the 9, which was remaining, had been claimed. And I think that your reporter came back and said that indeed he can also attest, if I stand to be corrected, that almost all of those forest reserves have been taken back. The galamseys are being fought.
No, he challenged the number. I remember I spoke to him, and he was asking the minister should tell us exactly, should give us evidence as to how they have reclaimed those. Look, he challenged the numbers.
That was before the submission in Parliament. That was before the submission in Parliament. After he made the submission in Parliament, the reporter has not come back. Oh. I'm not doubting Erasto's work. Not at all.
He's challenged all the time they put out the numbers.
Well, but this is the information we have. And at least we have seen the fight that they have gone, the readings they have done on.
But if the fight, as you say, has really garnered some positive outcome, how come the turbidity levels of water bodies have risen? I mean, yesterday we were hearing of the dam in the central region that the minister says it should be closed down because he doesn't see how you can process water from there.
We made a statement from the Movement for Change. We said that all small-scale mining activities ought to be stopped at least for a period of 1 year.
And that has not been done.
That is a proposal we had made. Why did we make this proposal? Number one, that we are able to audit all the licenses that has been issued at least for the past 10 to 15 years. Number two, so that we allow these water bodies to cleanse up. Then we import technology that would help to clean these water bodies. Number three, it would allow us the opportunity to be able to distinguish between those who are illegally mining and those who are legally doing small scale. So that Honorable will not come and say that illegal mining and small scale mining is the same thing. You understand me? Because me from the outside, if you tell me that they are the same, I would want to look at the dictionary definitions of it.
He was referring to what a colleague MP who is in a galamsey endemic area told him yesterday.
That's what I'm saying, that so that we, those who are not there, would be able to distinguish properly. But if you would ask me, these steps are being taken. You understand? And in 2024, I mean, I think...
So you say from where you say it, you see that the war on galamsey is being...
That's what I'm saying. In 2024...
Is that what you're saying?
The fight for galamsey is ongoing, and we see the evidence of it. Really? That's what I'm saying, that in 2024, in February, he would agree with me. His presidential candidate also made a certain proposal, which I think almost all the presidential candidates at the time had made. That is to give training, all right, to these small-scale miners so that they do not destroy nature. Okay. Yesterday, during the president's presentation, he would attest, he mentioned that they have secured an opportunity in Australia to go train these small-scale miners. I mean, if we would want to continue to do politics with the fight for galamsey, of galamsey, we would not go anywhere.
But are they not also right to look at what is happening to say, okay, you said you declare a state of emergency, you haven't done that.
Good. Now, on the state of emergency, you brought my attention there.
The fight against galamsey, the galamsey is still ongoing.
Would you also agree with me that the galamsey sites, most of these water bodies have been declared a security zone, a no-go area?
But declaration doesn't mean that people are not there. People are still.
What I'm saying that, are you aware that they have been declared no-go
long ago,
security zones?
Long ago.
And the president had also stated that the issue of galamsey is of a national emergency. These are all security statements that have been made by the president.
Are we looking for statement or are we looking for action?
But that is what is being happening. Are we not in agreement with the president that the fight for galamsey is ongoing and that they're doing it?
All right. I hear.
We are having a discussion. If we think that it is getting worse than it was before, then we present it as it is.
But that's what the CSOs in that area have said. The CSOs in the area of,
because I'll give you an example. Like with the revocation of the law.
People like They've said that the situation is getting worse.
Yesterday, Suleimana Brahma is quoted to have said that Akufo-Addo fought galamsey better than Mr. Mahama is doing.
We all have said,
today.
we've all spoken about the revocation of the LI 2462, if I stand to be corrected, which was amended. Now, they have been in, he's still in Parliament, he has been in Parliament before. He knows that the revocation of an LI cannot just be done. Why do I say this? The LI we are talking about does not only regulate mining. The LI is an EPA LI. You understand me? If you take it out without putting in another one, and he's a lawyer, you will know that they will operate in vacuum.
Before you invite
the Attorney General, the acting Minister for Environment,
let me move on.
had stated the steps which has been taken, that an LI is currently being sent to Parliament, all right, for them to look at it in replacement of the one that is being revoked.
Okay. So my question to him is, since he is in the strong defense of the government, is
very mischievous. Please. No,
all the things that you said is completely.
So should I say what?
But it's fine. No, not at all.
Of course. So,
but I want to ask you. To ask you. Did President Mahama not know that it takes a certain process to revoke an LI at the time that he was making the commitment to revoke it when he becomes president? 8 months down the line, are you suggesting to the good people of Ghana who are listening to you this morning,
yes,
that it takes 8 months to do that?
How many months does it take?
Two, please. 1 day.
It takes a day.
One.
You should have done it.
One.
You were in Parliament.
But of course.
You were in Parliament.
The Akufo-Addo government did not do it.
He's admitted.
That's
the reason.
So allow somebody who wants to take his time to do it.
Take his time until when? I want to know. How long?
You are in Parliament.
So if I say you are defending the government, admit it and let's make progress.
Okay.
Because the reason why,
in Parliament,
one of the reasons why we lost the election was that Ghanaians felt
you are in
they bought into the NDC. Of course, we're in government for 8 years. Mahama was president for 4 years before that. He was vice president for 4 years prior to that. So please.
When you're talking, I didn't talk. So when
let me bring him, David. I'm grateful to you.
I'm not done.
Thank you. Let me bring you.
I want to know, before Bondi comes in.
It was a topic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me power in 2017.
But he's been interjecting.
You've made your point.
You've made your point.
You've made your point.
You have the one when I make reference to you defending the government, then you jumped in.
Of course, you don't say what you don't know.
So let me make my point.
No, so let me land
Let me make my point.
Let me land
first. The one who is interjecting.
No, please.
Mr. Host.
Okay, so it's fine.
I had not landed.
All of you, it's okay.
You don't.
So I want to know
again.
I'll give you all of you another time.
You don't bulldoze your way through like that.
David Bondi is here. He's MP for Chifo. And that's, David, I think your place, there's galamsey, right?
Yeah.
So you listen to the president there. He says, we'll take the small-scale miners to Australia for them to be trained, and the fact that declaration of a state of emergency will be quite a difficult thing to be done. I mean, how did you, of course, I'm not sure you disagree with your president, will you?
Good morning to you.
Good morning, David.
My good friend, lawyer and smart lawyer for that. And my good friend, Movement for Change. The change is already here, so...
So they have to change their name,
And so, and good morning to the Ghanaian, good people of Ghana, and anybody who's watching me from Akufo-Addo. I know my DC is watching me, and our Council of State member is back from, tour with the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And round of national applause for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for an excellent delivery, unveiling himself within 8 months of his government, to the Ghanaian people to be asked all sort of questions. And I think that he did extremely well in answering all those questions that were put to him, yesterday and last night. And I was really happy he did. I actually drove from office straight to house and sat by my television and watch him closely. And I mean, this is the first time that you agree with me that within 8 months in government, we're doing so well, and the president unveiling himself for the media to engage him. I think that's a very remarkable, achievement, and we all have to applaud the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Now, the illegal mining, again, I've said, time without number, that nobody will be able to fight illegal mining using guns, cutlasses, and machetes, and burning down excavators and killing people, shooting them like we saw over the past 8 years, you know, in the SY administration. Nobody's going to be able to succeed in fighting galamsey through that means. You see, the reason I love His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, if you like, I like His Excellency John Dramani Mahama so much, is that he's a realist. I mean, he knows what it is. I like the way he communicates, and he faces the fact and the situation the way it is. My brother, you can sit here and say anything you want to say, but you see, you are not in the bush. You are not in the villages where, you know, these activities actually takes place. And so you can sit here and talk about all the strategies of the LI to be repealed, to be declared a state of emergency, and all those are just standing on television and say, today, Parliament have passed a state of emergency, we've declared state of emergency. And so what? I mean, what happens on the ground is different from what we talk about sometimes on TV, on radio, and all that. And so for me, the reality is what we need to deal with. Yes, it's true that today, nobody says that the fight is over. I mean, galamsey is over. Nobody's saying that. But when you look at the steps that we're taking within 8 months, it tells you that we're fighting and we will win.
What steps?
Okay. So you see the approach of training many water guards. Yeah. The intention is to protect the river bodies.
Which is not novel, right? They did it when...
Hold on. It is the approach and the strategy, the honesty, you know, the commitments that you use in fighting that. If we're able to protect the water bodies and stop all the chamfan machines from entering it, the dredging, that small dredging machines from entering it, I mean, the water will be relieved. And the continuous pollution of the water bodies is what brings the stability level to go extremely high. So if we're able to stop that, it's one huge process that is being implemented and will have a results. Very important. So we're doing that, the water bodies. So we're training the water, you know, guards. We're deploying them. We're giving them the necessary equipment. And next thing we want to do is to buy more of these boats on the river, you know, so that they can use, because these boys that are doing this thing, they really can dive. And so if you're a policeman, for example, the last time I engaged the police commander in my constituency, we were having a conversation. He said, look, I'm not able to dive. I'm not a swimmer. These boys, they can swim, they can do everything. And so, you know, that's what it is. And that is the reality. So we're trying to protect the water bodies, get all of them out of the water bodies. Now, the water bodies will be clean. And I have proposed, and I thank His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, that proposal is really working. The importation of chamfan into this country must be stopped. And I think that's one of the things that Transport Minister is actually working really. You know, because you see, no, I'm talking about chamfan.
I'm saying that the Transport Minister is looking at excavators. That's what he's looking at.
Again, so that's another area we'll talk about soon. Now, because you see, when that system is built and you don't have that engine called chamfan on it, the structure you build is meaningless and cannot do anything, cannot dredge the river. That will solve the problem. Getting the chamfan, destroying it, it's another fantastic way of getting it out of the river bodies. Now the excavators. Again, we are in a very huge infrastructural deficit in this country. And the excavator is one of the equipment that we use in constructing our roads, building infrastructure, and so forth and so on. It will come to this country, but our ability to monitor and to regulate which kind of, excavator and who, which institution that were able to track it and make sure it is not going to be used to destroy our forest, reserves and so forth and so on, is what we have to invest into.
Okay.
And that's what he is doing.
Okay.
For me, sitting here today, I'm a happy person because, you see, the delivery, what is going on today, just last night's questioning and answers that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama granted the Ghanaian people, represented by you, the media, answering questions and apologizing for even forgetting about a particular question, coming back to ask it, the demeanor, the humility, that level of maturity demonstrated by the president. Right. I don't think anybody should sit anywhere and criticize it anyway. But we're Ghanaians, everybody's allowed.
You are in Parliament. The question about how many days should it take for an LI to be?
Let me not sit here and say things that I am not. Look, it doesn't matter how many days. That's not even the point.
Well, help us.
To come to Parliament with a bill and to lay the bill and for it to be passed, it takes Mr. Speaker to put the question. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Bill is passed and all that. But the process, again.
Could it have been done within this period?
No, well, I don't have an idea whether it can be done within this period or not.
Have you passed some bills within
But the point is that, hold on, the point is
Has Parliament passed bills within
I mean, of course, yes. But the point is that that same bill was passed in Parliament to grant license to people to mine in the forest bodies.
All right.
That's the starting point.
Thank you very much.
And so the point is that it will be repealed. And that will stop people from mining in the forest. Because again, I mean, within the 8 years that we've been in government, we never granted licenses to anybody to go and mine.
I'm grateful to you. Lawyer Mercer, I mean, wouldn't you agree that the fight against galamsey is a process and not something that will happen once? And if you look at what his explanation, that the water guards, the NIMOS they've set up and all of that is a way of dealing with the menace, and therefore they should be applauded for it.
I agree that fighting galamsey is a process. And so, obviously, I was not convinced that we were going to be in a position to do it within 2 weeks, as they told us when they were in opposition. Because that's what...
Did they say 2 weeks?
Some judge said it. I did not hear Mr. Mahama disassociate himself from it. I did not hear some judge say
every
that all it takes...
make on television, please, Mahama should go around and be disassociating. I mean, how many times...
Can you allow me?
Anyway, go on.
They said, and some judge is a key member of the government, that any president with executive authority requires not more than 2 weeks to fix the galamsey problem. Some people believe them. I did not, because I've been in government. They had been in government before. But they made all these statements primarily to deceive Ghanaians into voting for them. So yes, I agree, it's a process. But is the process that they've outlined consistent with their own commitments that they made to the people of Ghana? Certainly not. If for some reason they want to, as it were, walk back the commitments that they made, let them come out and say so. And then give us a clear pathway that allows us to get there. Because look, Kojo, believe me, when I say that I sincerely wish and hope that the government will succeed, especially in our water bodies. Because it cannot be that Ghanaians drink from the kind of water that you are showing on your screen. So we should work together, and I agree that we should not make it political. They did. You recall, in the heat of the fight during Akufo-Addo administration, Kojo Buahini and in the company of the current MD for
Petroleum
Hub, were in mining communities, telling the miners that Akufo-Addo is stopping you. Vote for us. When we come, we'll allow you to mine.
But they distanced themselves from those videos.
We saw it. He didn't speak. Kojo Buahini spoke. You didn't see it?
I saw the video.
So the fact that I'm saying that he was in the company of Tony Obin, they were in the video. Tony Obin didn't speak, but Kojo Buahini spoke. Did he say that what he was saying was wrong? Did he? They endorsed it. They play politics with it. And it's coming back to bite them. I'm happy for us to have a bipartisan conversation on how we put in measures to fight this. Because otherwise, 5 years, we may not even get there. At that point, there won't be any water for Ghanaians to drink. And we cannot afford to get there.
Okay. All right. Lawyer Egyapa Mercer.
But just a quick one.
Okay. No.
See, when you are quick to make bills and turn them into acts, that is what happens. That a reflection of it is what happened with our LI 2462. This is a bill that is supposed to impact and change lives and protect nature and human beings. I believe you and I would agree that it ought to go through proper due diligence. That you would not expect MPs to just browse through it and pass it for it to come for us to criticize and pinpoint issues out of them again. We agree we ought to do it quick. But what is the due diligence? See, Kojo, we have passed this bill before, have we not?
We have.
When it came out, did we not immediately identify mistakes in this bill? The first process the bill went through was as quick as we wanted it. It came out and we saw these mistakes and it's affecting us today.
But Nana, on that basis, let me ask this question. When the NDC was talking about repealing LI 2462, you don't think they knew exactly what they were saying and that they had the lawyers to put together a proper bill within this period to
at
get
the
it
time?
repealed?
Lawyers don't put up the bills anyway.
No, I'm just saying the brains to put up that particular bill and get it to Parliament.
What I may say, majority of us who criticized the bill at the time, the only thing that we saw, and I repeat, the only thing that most of us saw was the aspect of the act that gave the president that mandate to sanction the forest reserves, the granting of the forest reserves. And that was what most of us were fighting. When we took a critical look at it, we realized that no, there were other aspects of it that ought to be dealt with.
Okay.
You understand me? So if we've been able to identify some of these areas, and we say, listen, Mr. Minister, go through it properly. Let Parliament take its time so that we do not come at this point again. And of course, we all talk and we make promises during campaigns. Well, in this country, when somebody said $1 would be jailed and put in somebody's pocket, IGP's pocket, and the key thrown away, did it happen?
He said that when the dollar was coming down. That was the time he said that. When the dollar was coming down, he said, dollar ni yachi, ediki na my IGP.
So in moving forward, I'm only asking.
I'm sorry, that wasn't the point.
Oh, really?
At peaks, peaks of campaigns, people make statements.
Okay.
That does not mean those individuals should not be held responsible for the statements they make. Okay. They ought to be held responsible.
I'm grateful.
Once they make steps in dealing with those statements that they have made or those promises that they have made, it is the will that they exhibit and the steps they take in achieving those promises they made that should be criticized.
Okay.
Are the steps being taken not good enough?
Okay, I hear. I'm grateful. Let's go for the president again, talking about, because someone asked him a question about why they recalled the IGP task force, and he gave a response on why that was done, because they had set up a coordinating body, and that's why this happened. Let's listen to the president, John Dramani Mahama.
We called off the IGP's anti-galamsey task force because they are supposed to coordinate with NIMOS, that is the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat. Unfortunately, they were not doing that. So every little commander in any this thing gets up, galamsey phobia or they can't tell who is licensed, they can't tell who is not licensed. And so it was just like an attack on the whole small-scale mining industry. And so what we said was they should freeze their action. They should synchronize it with the National Anti-Galamsey Operational Secretariat so that they can be directed exactly to where to go in terms of the anti-galamsey fight. While we're fighting galamsey, it doesn't mean that it's a free-for-all for everybody to get up. Anybody gets up, puts on a helmet, puts on a jacket, and says, I'm anti-galamsey. They say, we're not looking for chaos. We're looking to do it, in a scientific manner so that we do not hurt the whole of the small-scale mining industry.
So that was the precedent. Again, you remember yesterday there were a lot of issues about excavators, and we know, according to the Minister of Transport, there is the importation of at least 200 excavators into Ghana every day. And yesterday when I spoke to him on Top Story, he said that they were evacuating what was in the port to safe havens so that people can go and clear them, because they want to determine whether or not those equipment were imported into the country with permits. Let's listen to the president on the excavators as well. When we come, I'll pick the thought of my guest.
With regards to excavators, we're enforcing the law that you must get the permits before the excavator is put on a ship. That is what the law has been, but it was not followed. And so they let the excavator land before they come and ask the Ministry of Transport for a permit. And so we've informed all the dealers that you cannot load an excavator onto a ship until you have gotten a permit. In the meantime, a lot of excavators have arrived at the port. And recently, somebody said they were being released at midnight to their owners and things. That's not true. What happens was there were so many that they had occupied a huge area of the port and congested the port. And so we found the land near Shai Hills, near the military installation. And the Field Engineers Regiment and others have been given charge to move the excavators from the port to that area so that they can free up space in the port. And they do that in the night because of traffic in the daytime. So in the night, they have the payloaders moving the excavators out of the port to the designated areas where they are supposed to be held. And before any of those excavators is released, they must be tracked. They must have a tracker on them. They must be registered by the owner of the excavator. And we must know the purpose for which the excavator has been imported. Because the construction industry also imports excavators. And so you cannot put a blanket ban on importation of excavators just because you think that every excavator is going to go into the illegal mining industry. Even the big mining companies that have licenses import excavators. And so we want to know who is importing the excavators, who it is going to. We want to be able to put a tracker on it and be able to trace that excavator wherever it is in the country.
So that was the president there. I'll start with you, lawyer. No, as a lawyer, Honorable Vondi on this, because yesterday the transport minister told us on Top Story that the number of excavators in the system already can handle any of our demands. And so they would have to even check why these excavators are coming in. And I was asking him, what then happens if you say the numbers we have already in the system are enough? What will you do to those which are being imported? Must we just say you can come for permit when we know that we have enough excavators in the system? And again, the large-scale miners explained to us yesterday that even the excavators that are being imported, the smaller ones, are not what the large-scale miners use.
Yeah, so again, that's the point, if we have a lot of excavators in this country already, and those excavators are enough and can be used for any constructions that we want to do in this country, it still belongs to somebody. So again, somebody may bring an excavator that he have a purpose he want to use it for. It doesn't mean that, for example, me as a contractor, if I'm doing a road construction, for example, in my constituency, I should not be able to be allowed to bring an excavator. What's important, and that's why the permit process is very important, is that you don't just go bring excavator, you need permit. And it is that process that would grant you the permits to bring it or not, then we know whether there is use for it. If there's no use for it, doesn't mean when you're going through the process to get permits to bring the excavator, automatically you'll be given. No. And so that is the point. So we can have that process followed. So we know who needs the excavator, who do not need the excavator. Again, I think that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, was actually right, where we have to, move the excavators from the port to a very safe haven. And so people should not think that the excavators have been snaked out given to people to take to the forest reserves, to go and destroy forest bodies and all that. You see,
people are accusing you that you are creating jobs for your men because you've put together a committee that people have to go to these safe havens to then justify before they are giving their machines.
You see, but with the greatest of respect, there is a problem. You can only solve a problem when you create some level of job to solve the problem. So that's normal.
Okay.
And you don't want to say that we don't want to create job and therefore for that, and so we should leave the excavators to just leave our shores and go into the forest reserves and so forth and so on to destroy the lands and all that. That's not what we're saying. So for me, that's a good strategy, a good way of controlling. So what's important, you heard the president say that we've spoken to all the agencies that, brings the excavators that do not put the excavator into the ship until you have, the person who is importing it, have permits and all that. So for me, there should be severe sanctions.
If you have asked them not to do it and they do it,
yeah, I'm saying that. I'm saying that there should be severe sanctions to those who would actually flout those rules. Again, if you bring excavator that you do not have permit, I don't think that there should be any justification for you to bring the excavator before you come and think of doing permits. I mean, you don't get that. And so once you bring the excavator without permit, you shouldn't be given the opportunity to come and rectify or regularize whatever it is that you're supposed to do before bringing it. Automatically must be confiscated into the state's hands and for whatever the state want to use it for.
Okay. All right.
I think that's the way. And some of the excavators must go back to wherever they are coming from illegally. And I believe that if we do this, these things would help. Again, on the withdrawal of the IGP's boys, men, if you like, I think that it is important to synchronize these things properly. Like His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said, okay, this is a situation where we heard many stories of people going to, mining sites, trying to extort money from the miners, trying to take their gold and all that. So those that the state is even sending to those mining sites must be properly identified, and I think that if there's a concern that, hey, this is what we're picking, these are the signals that we're picking, that there are some people who supposedly, are, states, agencies like the police, the military, some of them, I mean, again, it's important to realize that, like His Excellency said, we're not looking to create chaos, to add to the problems, compound the problems. We're looking to solve problems. And so if you're putting men and women there, and some of them are kind of trying to destroy the very good job others are doing, it is just appropriate to call them back.
Okay.
Sanitize the system, regroup them, reassign them, and then get them to get the job done. Nobody's saying that we're withdrawing them for good. No, but we're trying to ensure that the men and women that were put in there, we're not putting them there to go create another problem.
Okay. All right.
And that's exactly what a very good manager should do.
Okay.
And that is what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is doing. I think that one thing that we have to applaud this government for is that for the past 8 months that we've been in government, not even one scandal will anybody be able to talk about. And this is check and balances that were put in place to check all our appointees and ensure that the right thing is actually being done. Okay. I think that these issues are troubles that will be surmounted, again, and that the Ghanaian people will have the benefit of it soon. So for me, let's all work together. The situation about galamsey, it's not about, easy thing to do. Okay, you're talking about livelihood of people.
Thank you very much.
And so we'll deal with it. It will be done. We will be taken care of.
Okay.
And I believe that we'll be fine.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be fine.
Let me bring in lawyer Egyapa Mercer. I mean, you listened to the president on why the IGP's task force was recalled, and the excavators. This shows he's trying to be open.
I laughed.
Really?
I laughed. The IGP woke up without any authorization, without any consultation, without recourse to his ministers, without recourse to his superior authorities, and set up a task force to go into the forest and start arresting people, right? That's what the president is telling us. That's what the president is telling us. And you guys take these things hook, line, sinker.
No, but we were not given opportunity to ask follow-up questions.
Well,
so.
Then maybe tell him to organize it next time in a manner that allows you guys who represent us to ask relevant questions.
We ask relevant questions, follow-ups.
Follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Because I laughed that in the governance structure that we have as a country, the IGP on his own volition can set up a task force, deploy them without authorization. And the president turns around and says that, oh, we stopped it. Because what? What kind of governance are we talking about? So please, tell him to come again. Those who buy such talk, well, thankfully I'm not part of it. And I know that the greater majority of Ghanaians don't buy it. Okay? And this excavator thing, I really don't get it all.
Why don't you?
Why? We're told in June that importation of galamsey excavators have been banned. And that shipping lines have been mandated to validate licenses or permits before carrying them into Ghana.
Yes.
June has come and gone. July has come and gone. August has come and gone. September has come.
Yeah.
And we are told that excavators have come to the port. Do they have permits already? If they do, why they need to send them to so-called military installations, safe havens, for you to go and do what before you release them?
The minister explains that...
I want to know the explanation.
He says there are some of them that came in before they gave that no
How many
permit,
months?
no.
Do you know how long goods ought to stay in the port before they are cleared, pursuant to which they are subject to demurrage?
I know 60 days.
It's not up to 60 days, oh. Check. 30.
For vehicles and equipment, it's 60.
I'm not sure, but check. So 60 days. June, July is 60 days.
Yeah.
August, September. So my point is, I don't believe them. Because they say one thing and do another. Because it won't make sense to me that if you require prior permits before you bring these equipment in, all the rationale for the importation would have been laid bare to the minister before he gives you the permit. And so when you bring it in, it presupposes that you've met all the criteria for importation, and so all you have to do is to pay your duties and take them out of the port to go and do what the permit grants you to do. Is that what is happening?
Yeah, that's what they said they are doing.
Oh, that's what they're doing?
Yeah.
And so why are they going to... verifying which permit?
The permit, whether you have permit or not. That's what the minister says. Yes.
That's what he says.
Yes.
But is that consistent with the statement that he issued in June?
I mean,
if you require prior permit,
yes.
What it means is that you have to take the permit before you even go and buy.
Yes.
And the shipping lines ought to validate that you have a permit to bring this equipment into Ghana. Because I'm coming to agree with him that these things should be confiscated. Because as far as I'm concerned, the time span that we're told, right, that these things have been banned, and now it's too long for me to be convinced that these equipments have been sitting at the ports for 4 months and that they are not affected by the ban, imposition of the ban that the minister issued. I'm not convinced. And they better come with further and better particulars to convince some of us that indeed and in fact, these were not, or these were equipments that had come into Ghana before the permit was issued.
No,
otherwise, it's a complete joke. Say it again.
He didn't say all of them. He said he wants to verify which of them had permits and which of them don't, so that they can.
So they don't have any mechanism at the port to know the consignee of the equipment, to know that this consignee was given a permit to import 10, 20, 50, 100 excavators.
Yeah.
And that the documentation bill of lading and all that documentation that is associated with international trade that proves that these equipments have come, submitted to the port authorities together with their permit to enable them clear their goods. The minister now has to go back and verify.
They've set up a team, not him directly.
Yes, there's a minister. The team is working for the minister.
Yes.
They now have to go back and verify the permits and the bill of lading before they are, and so they are moving it to Shire Hills.
Yes.
To go and keep them there.
Yes, I mean,
If you are convinced, I'm fine, because I'm not. I'm clearly not convinced. And the suspicion that these things have been brought in to support their people, so they generate more gold for gold board, is what I tend to believe.
And I thank God you said suspicion, because you have no justification.
Because I don't have the evidence.
You don't have the evidence. So I thank God you said suspicion.
But it seems to me that that is plausible, as opposed to the minister's explanation. Because it doesn't make sense to me. We've had permitting regimes in the past in this country, where even flour and sugar you needed permit to import. That's, of course, way before our constitutional dispensation and all that. Okay. But it's reasonable when you say that if you obtain the permit prior to importation, then when they come to the ports, all you have to do is to show your permit to the port authorities to enable you to clear your goods.
Yeah.
It doesn't require a third-party storage location before some validation is done prior to issuing those equipments that you've imported on that permit to you. I do not understand.
No.
Maybe Yvonne does, but I don't.
If I can have a quick bite.
Yes, yes.
Look, what you should be saying, and I agree with you, is that let's look at those equipments that were already sitting, in the ship, maybe on the high sea coming, before the disclaimer was issued, before the directions were issued. Those ones we could treat with some...
It doesn't take 3 months for equipment to move from China to Ghana.
Hold on. Can I finish?
Let me add
Can
this.
I finish?
Let me just add this to her.
Again.
In June, when the minister spoke on
you allow me, and you'll understand what I'm saying.
No. I'm just buttressing. He made a point that they are aware, per their intelligence, that about 3,000 are on the high seas to Ghana.
So hold on. We can kind of, if you like, allow some kid gloves treatment on those that were on the high sea coming before the order was issued. Again, it doesn't mean we should let them go, like even those ones. And that is why it is important that we bring them in, move them to a safe haven, and then be able to get a way of getting them out, or if you like, some of them, confiscated if possible. But those that they are coming in after the order have no explanation, justification whatsoever. Okay. Then we can, because you see, we are not in the jungle's world.
Okay. All right.
So for me, we're saying same thing. Again, yes, we shouldn't allow the excavators to enter the forest reserves and go and destroy things and all that. Also, we cannot be so hard on people that we ourselves have given them the rights, if you like, who were weak, if you like, allow them put all those things on high sea to come, and then they come, and but those that the instructions were issued before they put them on the high sea illegally, they have no explanation. Those we can quickly,
Thank you, Mr.
play off. So for me, that's what it is, and we're saying same thing.
Let me bring in an example.
Kujo, the president responded to the question. Number one, he showed the location where these excavators can be found. You doubt him, you drive there. I think that you can see it when you drive. Number two, he has shown us those who are responsible to handle and also take care of these excavators. We can easily make verification.
Absolutely.
Whether or not it is true. Now, what we should understand is this, that it takes a process for importers or buyers to speak to their suppliers when they want to buy some of these equipments. And so when a minister has issued a communique, and let's say I'm an importer, and I have gone to do my negotiations already, I've signed my contract, they are bringing it. Because some of these earth-moving equipments, they don't buy them in cash. All right, they go to negotiate. When they come, they work, they pay after they've made deposits. I mean, with the buses and all of these earth-moving equipments. That is how some of these things are done. And so you will notice that it will not just take a day to clear some of these issues. But what has been done? There has been some innovative measures that has been put in place. It is not just about banning the importation. Of course, it is heartbreaking to get to know that the third most valuable item that is being imported into this country is an excavator. Very heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking. And these excavators have various uses. I mean, I stand and I agree with the school of thought that we should not import these earth-moving machineries like an excavator. Because if we have enough, if you have a farm plantation and you would want an excavator, there are some type of excavators that you would need. You go through a process and you get it done. You go through a process and you get it moved into your farm. But you see, the innovative aspect of it is what has been done by the DVLA, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the geotagging and geotracking. And in the registration by the DVLA, now you just don't go and register, but the details of the owner and the organization or company that is going to use that excavator is also added to the information that is being gathered by the DVLA. So you easily track and you can easily identify when they have even been moved.
Have you heard the minister on this tracking? Well, okay, no, it was the DVLA. Sometimes you will see a tracker moving towards Bolga. They've removed it and they've put it in a Yango car.
So you see, that is the point. So the information that they have on the owner of the excavator to whom that tracker has been issued, one has done a criminal thing by touching the tracker. And these things, when you are a CEO or a minister and you come to give such explanations, I don't agree with you.
Okay, all right.
If the tracker has been touched, the person ought to be arrested.
Okay.
After the person has been arrested, how much more do you, what next, what else do you do to deter such activities? No,
land. I just want you to move on to
now, you would have to put in other punitive measures, either by banning that company or that individual from importing such earth-moving machineries again into this country. You see, when you take the criminal triangle, all right, and you look at it, we have the opportunities, we have the abilities, and we have the desire. What we should do in some of these issues is to put in measures or punitive measures that would kill the desire of people involving themselves in some of these criminal activities. That would save us all. You see, if excavator importation alone is to a tune of 6.2 something billion, and they give a figure.
Yeah, they give a figure.
It means that it is worth some consideration. And we need to actually sit down and deal with the matter. So for me,
at least we now know that it's the 10th most important item into the country.
So we need to put in measures to deal with it. All of these excavators, where are they going to?
Okay.
You understand? I do not, like those that have been seized. I was not in agreement when they were being bent. What I suggested that we have the engineers regiment, we have some routes that needs to be dealt with.
And them too, the
National Service Authority it's working on some plantations.
Yes, yes.
There are some secondary schools that have huge lands that they can use for farming. We allocate these things to them, and then we make good use of them.
Okay.
At a point, our engineers and our ministries and the agencies should be able to tell us that, listen, we have had enough of these earth-moving equipment.
Thank you, Nana. Thank you, Nana. I'm grateful. Let's move on and talk about going back to the international market. Now, the president says we have survived without borrowing, and therefore there won't be a rush for us to go back to the international market. Ms. Mercer, that is a reassuring thing from the president, that we won't rush back into the international market because we survived without borrowing.
I'm not so sure whether that statement in itself was accurate.
Why is it not accurate?
Because under the IMF regime, look, no, but of course, speaking to fact, you are in Parliament. Since you went there in January of 2025, you haven't approved any loans between then and now. You have not?
Mr. Mondi, has Parliament approved loans?
They have.
Okay.
So, look, there's a difference between loans and maybe bonds. Maybe it's the bonds that the president was speaking to. He has to clarify. I listened to the question, the Bloomberg reporter who was asking whether, and I suspect that his question really was the bond market, which Ghana...
Okay, so he says that, quote, we have survived without going to the capital market. We have survived without borrowing. Who would have thought
That's what I'm saying,
some years ago that because Ghana's economy could be run without external debt financing?
Wait, it's inaccurate. Because he himself, in response to one of the questions that was posed, said there was a cap of 250 million that Ghana could borrow under the IMF program. When the question was asked relative to the Tamale Damango water system, and that he's sure that in the next budget, okay, they're going to find a way to find a resource to fund that. So what does it mean to say that you haven't borrowed in the past 8 months?
But if he says there's a
250 million cap that you can borrow.
But does it mean they have?
But they have. They have.
When?
That's what I'm asking you. Whether Parliament hasn't approved any loans from January to date. Check the records. Call your parliamentary reporter and ask him. We have a cap of how much we can borrow per year under the IMF program. They are working within that. So the president cannot look in the face of Ghanaians and say that we haven't borrowed in the past 8 months. That's not true. Yes, capital market, bond market, we haven't gone because it's closed out, arising out of the restructuring, okay? And he's saying that we've survived up to this point and potentially we're not going to go back anytime soon. No issue. But borrowing is not true.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, so primarily, domestically, through treasure bills, okay, we've been able to mobilize some few treasure bills.
So you've been borrowing from the domestic market.
Domestically to kind of take care of ourselves. We've not gone to the capital market.
Okay.
We've not gone to anybody, outside Ghana to go bring money to this country, borrowing, like we saw in 8 years ago. And so His Excellency Mahama was very truthful, and that's exactly what we did. It is our prayer and hope that you see this gold board, the kind of enthusiasm, the kind of strength that this gold board thing is bringing into our economy, trying to help the city to stabilize, and the revenue generation. It is our prayer and hope that we will move on that tangent for some time. Internal mobilization, and efficiency in terms of payment of our taxes here and there, making sure that we put our money where it matters most, making sure that we don't engage in profligacy, you understand? And like we saw, we don't engage. And so these are demonstrations of of good management of the economy, and that is why we see what we're seeing. And so we're not interested in running to the capital market, trying to go and pick all the dollars from outside, borrowing and burdening the future, Ghanaians yet unborn to come and be paying loans here and there. We're not saying that it is prohibited, but I'm saying to you that for the past 8 months, we've not done that, and that's the truth. And I think that that's as a result of good management. And again, if we're able to continue with this kind of disciplines, physical, discipline in our economy, I'm sure that going forward, Ghanaians should be able to largely depend on ourselves. And of course, we cannot say that, because we live in a global, village. But you see, when you go and borrow just purposely because somebody is the manager of the economy and borrowing makes him make money because he gets some percentage of whatever he's borrowing, then that is what we will not do. And so His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was right. And so we're just making sure that we're disciplined, we're investing into areas that are very important. Ghanaians are getting the benefit and it is helping everybody. Today we're fine. Okay. And so it's good.
I'm grateful.
It's good.
Nana,
Kojo,
I saw you giggling along the line.
Yes, because the president was actually talking in context. The question had to do with international capital market. And he responded as such. Now, nobody in this country has denied or would deny that there has been a local bond that has been raised. It was in context. And Kojo, you see, when we are addressing some of these issues, we need to be honest enough to deal with the matter as it is. So if the president is asked about an international capital market, and he says no, and he never thought that Ghana could survive without going to the international capital market. As he said, wrong. You understand me? So the context is important. But what is most important is the fact that at least we have been able to ring fence our resources. All right? We have been able to deal with some issues, and at least we are managing expectations. What is important is the discipline in our fiscal monetary policies and issues. All right? Have we been able to be disciplined in that angle? I think that the noise about too much borrowing, the noise about governments and administrations putting monies where they are not supposed to go, have all come down as compared to some 2-3 years back. And so what we should be pushing the BOG and the Ministry of Finance is for them to be able to maintain what is happening and to make it sustainable. Are these measures sustainable? That is what we should be interrogating. The sustainability of the measures that have been put in place by the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana.
The president confirmed that the Bank of Ghana's participation in the forex, like the support of the city by issuing forex, has been stopped. So at least that is an answer that that particular measure was not sustainable.
So you see, so these are the things that we should be interrogating, but not to be jubilating because indeed there has been a domestic market borrowing. But at the end of the day, if there has been a domestic market borrowing, which and it is mismanaged, what do you think would happen?
I'm grateful, Nana. Thank you very much for that question.
What is he talking about? Me, I don't understand, though.
Yeah, you don't understand.
I don't understand. Because, why?
No, of course.
I'm
sorry.
What are you talking about?
I'm not talking to a panel. I'm talking to the viewers. I'm talking to a listener. And I have a discussion with you.
Our time is up.
Yesterday,
our time is up. Now,
Do you know what
this one says,
I can't understand.
How would you understand?
good morning, gentlemen.
These two gentlemen
Good
are
morning.
coming from...
I was saddened yesterday when I listened. Please hold on. Please hold on. Okay. I was saddened yesterday when I listened to the responses President Mahama gave to Ghanaians with respect to insecurity in the country. Our president couldn't give a concrete outline for tackling insecurity in the country, not even his backyard. Bernard Avle asked him a sensitive and accurate question, but President Mahama swerved and couldn't give an answer. Indeed, Ghana is not in safe hands And that is not why the Ghanaian people voted for the NDC. Kojo, we are heading into interesting times ahead. Francis Tando in Jomoro brought this one in. Let me do this. Okay, this one says, happy 60th birthday, Mr. Romeo Buje. On this special milestone, the staff and management of IT Consortium join in celebrating you. As you mark your 60th birthday, we honor your remarkable journey, dedication, and leadership, which continue to inspire us all. May this new chapter usher in good health, fulfillment, and achievement that reflect your legacy. We are proud to share in this celebration and wish you many more years of success. God richly bless you. Warmest regards, staff and management of IT Consortium there. So a happy birthday to you, Mr. Romeo Buje. On this note, I'm grateful to you, gentlemen, for coming. Nana Yao Sapon is with the Movement for Change. David Pondi is MP, Akufo-Addo, and board member of SIC. Andrew Egyapa Mercer is former Minister for Tourism and former MP for Second D. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more plans. An interview with a General Secretary aspirant of the New Patriotic Party. Do stay with us.